This is CBC Winnipeg News.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us. The water may be gone, but the damage is extensive. Days after flooding destroyed homes and basements and uprooted lives across Manitoba, many are now dealing with concerns around insurance and if they're covered. Well, the Premier promised supports. There is confusion around the province's disaster aid program. The CBC's Rosanna Hempel spoke with one family trying to navigate it all.
So the water kind of came up to about here.
Rebecca Breckman's basement in Gross Isle overflowed quickly. Last Tuesday's flooding destroyed appliances, mementos, and her kids' toys. Days later, they're desperately drying and gutting the interior, trying to salvage what's left of her family's home.
It feels like a huge, devastating loss.
Now she's finding out all these damages may not be covered by insurance because they've been told it was overland flooding, not sewer backup.
We assumed we were covered for it, right? Like you don't think those things are going to happen.
The Reeve of the rural municipality of Rosser says he's heard from many others who don't have insurance or don't have enough insurance for overland flooding.
I think the question is going to be, will the government help the ones that don't have the proper insurance? It's a tough position, right? Because the people that did have the right insurance, that paid the extra premium, right? They may be a little discomforted with the idea of that. But I would like to think that people are all good, and anybody that can get help through this crisis, we should be happy that they got it.
Premier Wab Canoe says rural Manitobans won't be left behind. The province says its disaster financial assistance program will offer extra support to those facing financial hardship, including people who are underinsured. This contradicts what some say they've been told about the program. Bill Gade is Reeve of the rural municipality of Swan Valley West.
We're kind of left in a gap right now where we don't know what that looks like, because here's the rules the province told us versus what he said to everybody else.
The Insurance Bureau of Canada says overland flood insurance only became available a decade ago, and about half of homeowners in Manitoba are not covered for it.
More than 90% of the residents across the province are able to purchase that coverage, but a few people, they just may not be aware of the risks or may not realize that they need the coverage until it's unfortunately too late.
Meanwhile, some restoration companies have told Breckman and her husband they won't help unless they have insurance.
It's been frustrating, very frustrating, especially when you're dealing with losing everything.
She hopes the Premier's promise pulls through. Rosanna Hempel, CBC News, Gross Isle.
While details are still being worked out, Premier Wab Canoe reiterated his pledge that no one in rural Manitoba would be left behind. Under current provincial rules, disaster financial assistance application forms state that insurable damages are not eligible for provincial aid. But Canoe says those terms will likely change, at least for this storm event. He encouraged those with damage to file a claim with the program. They'll be assessed case by case. Canoe says the climate is changing and policies need to change with it.
For folks who've never seen a natural disaster of this sort in certain parts of the province, I don't think we can hold them to a, see you, have a good day. I don't think we can hold them to a rule that was developed before the impacts of climate change were as apparent.
The Premier couldn't say if there would be a cap or maximum per claim or how much he expects the disaster to cost the province. But he did add that Winnipeg's mayor did not declare a state of emergency, which means people impacted within the city are not included. Manitoba is failing adults who need disability services. That's in a report tabled today with recommendations that would make sure the rights of people living with disabilities are met. The CBC's Mike Arsenault explains.
Tyson Sylvester may finally see changes to Manitoba's disability support system. Sylvester has cerebral palsy and says the current system doesn't work. His opinion is backed by a report released Tuesday with 13 recommendations to better meet the needs of people with disabilities.
You sort of get told this is what's available to you, so If you have needs that are out of their boxes or out of their menu or out of their silos, you're kind of, out of luck.
The Integrated Adult Services, or IAS pilot project started in 2022, aiming to identify gaps in services. The recommendations that came out of the pilot project include expanding eligibility, making its services equal for people living on First Nations or rural communities, and having one place to go if you need services.
We're not asking for charity here. We're asking for our basic human rights.
David Crone is the chair of the IAS pilot project. He says it made a positive difference in participants' lives.
We really identified the gaps and we tried some creative solutions, and we really learned a lot about the system.
The push for improvements came in 2016 after Sylvester and Amelia Hampton filed a human rights complaint with the province and the Winnipeg Regional Health Authority. They said services for adults living with disabilities were discriminatory and didn't meet their needs. A settlement was reached and the pilot project was created. Data was collected from 33 participants and led to the recommendations. Hampton passed away in 2024. Sylvester says it's been an emotional journey.
10 years of fighting, 10 years of, doing a lot of work is culminating into really this.
Joelle Pastora-Sala represented Sylvester and Hampton during their human rights complaint.
The reason why this isn't just another report that's going to be sitting on a shelf collecting dust is because legally they have committed to putting together a plan and then making best efforts to implement that plan.
Pastora-Sala says they could take the government to another hearing if the province doesn't make changes. The province has 6 months to come up with a plan. People in the room were asked to call their MLA in 6 weeks to put pressure on the government to make those changes to disability services. The minister responsible for accessibility says she's reviewing the recommendations. Mike Arsenault, CBC News, Winnipeg.
A judge has removed a high-risk label from a Winnipeg man. He was found not criminally responsible for killing his parents and stabbing a woman during a psychotic episode in 2021. Trevor Farley will still be detained in a hospital, but can now ask for some additional freedoms. CBC's Caitlin Gowerluck has more.
Jackie Motosh says her family is disappointed after a judge found the man who brutally attacked her mom during a 2021 psychotic episode should no longer be deemed a high-risk accused.
This was the only thing that was preventing her from living in fear of him coming back to hurt her again.
Trevor Farley was found not criminally responsible in 2023 for killing his parents, Stuart Farley and Judy Swain, at their homes, and stabbing his former nursing supervisor, Candace Schwarrick, at Seven Oaks Hospital. Farley's case is the first and only time the high-risk accused designation has been used in Manitoba. The rare label brought extra restrictions and gave final say on his possible release to the courts. It was revoked on Tuesday after court heard his treatment has been going well. The change means Farley can ask for more freedoms, like passes to go unsupervised on the grounds at Selkirk Mental Health Centre. It also means whether to eventually discharge him will now be up to a provincial review board, not the courts. But his lawyers say that's a long way away.
It's going to be baby steps for Mr. Farley, as it is for all not criminally responsible accused persons. It takes a lot of time.
She says having the high-risk label revoked is expected to help Farley make progress. Meanwhile, Motosh says her mom was upset she couldn't come to Tuesday's hearing. The now 70-year-old is in hospital, recovering from her 13th surgery related to the stabbing.
She works really hard to deal with the mental and physical fallout from what's happened to her.
Court-heard prosecutors can seek the high-risk label again if any issues come up with Farley's treatment or condition. For now, he's been ordered to stay detained in hospital. His case is expected to go before the review board within 45 days to determine next steps. Caitlin Gowerluck, CBC News, Winnipeg.
Well, the sun was out today, but will it last? Let's take a look at our forecast with weather specialist Khalil Hassanelli.
And then as we go through the next little while, we do have a little bit of increasing cloudiness through the overnight hours. And then as we go through tomorrow, we're going to expect a little bit of wet weather, unfortunately, but there is going to be a little bit of a good trend in that it is going to be nice and sunny as we get towards Thursday. So a little bit of a down day on Wednesday, but it is going to be looking a lot better. So in terms of that wet weather that could be coming through, we see some bands as we're going towards the Brandon area, and then as we're going towards Winnipeg, that's going to be moving in through the next couple of days. So there is going to be a little bit of unsettled weather, especially through the 24-hour stretch. And then that's going to be once again moving in towards the city of Winnipeg. Tonight, we do expect a mostly cloudy sky getting up to 13 degrees as the overnight low. And then there's going to be a little bit of chance of showers, 14 degrees as we wake up tomorrow morning. And then by the afternoon time, possible rain and thunderstorms getting up to a high of 19 degrees.
Thanks, Cleo. Well, who says there's no such thing as a free ride? Coming up, we'll show you where there will be for some. That story and more after the break. Stay with us. Students in Selkirk will be the first to ride the bus for free in Manitoba. Premier Wapkanu promised to make transit free for youth across the province. Now a pilot project is starting in Selkirk. As the CBC's Ian Fraze tells us, the province hopes it will turn young people into lifelong bus riders.
Premier Wapkanu pulling up at a Selkirk school, promising free transit for youth.
We're making the wheels on the bus roll, round and round.
Round and round, round and round, round and round.
Now, young people in Selkirk only need to flash a special transit pass to get a free bus ride. The program will soon be expanded to other cities.
I got the youth bus pass.
Grade 12 student Savannah Ross doesn't drive. She walks or takes the bus to get around town.
It's actually very exciting for my summer because now I can go places to Walmart more easily and I don't have to worry about paying for it.
The Premier says Selkirk is getting free youth transit first because it was ready to roll. The city was planning free youth transit before the province announced its program in the spring budget.
We know that youth that grow up using transit become adults who use transit, either as an option or as a regular part of their transportation mix.
The province hopes there'll be free transit for high school and middle school students in Winnipeg, Brandon, Winkler, and Flin Flon by September. In Selkirk, some teenagers expect to start using transit more often.
I have many siblings and it's really hard for my parents to drive me everywhere.
50-50 funding for friendly Manitoba.
This song from John Sampson Fellows is part of a new campaign calling on the province to restore 50-50 transit funding with municipal governments. Laura Cameron says provincial funding has been frozen while operating costs grow.
Making it more available to youth by lowering fares is great, but we really need to see at the same time the service improved. There's issues with buses not being as frequent as they're supposed to be, not coming on time.
The province estimates it will cost $10 million to reimburse transit systems for free youth transit. Winnipeg's mayor warns the bill could be higher. Ian Fraze, CBC News, Winnipeg.
A proposed development in Transcona could bring nearly 3,000 new housing units to a vacant stretch of land along Dugald Road. But the project has drawn opposition from the area councillor who accused the city of bypassing local residents. CBC's Cameron McLean reports.
This 110-acre patch of former industrial land in Transcona could become home to more than 7,000 people. Winnipeg developer Terracon and Landmark Planning have applied to build 3,000 units. The plans call for a commercial town square and businesses. Louis Riel School Division has plans to build a new school in the area. But Transcona councillor Russ Wyatt says residents haven't had enough input.
With basically zero community-wide consultation of the Transcona community, circumventing the community committee process as we know it.
Wyatt questioned why the hearing was held at the Executive Policy Committee rather than the East Kildonan Transcona Community Committee, and raised questions about the impact thousands of new homes could have on local roads and services.
With 3,000 new homes or units, this development will act, plus the commercial, which I'm not even including, upwards of 5,000 new vehicles or more to the area.
Mayor Scott Gillingham rejected those criticisms, saying city procedure requires proposals involving changes to the Complete Communities bylaw and a new secondary plan to be heard at EPC.
If Councillor Wyatt would have showed up to the meeting on time, he would have heard our clerk clearly explain that this process is in order, in accordance with our procedures bylaws.
Gillingham also pushed back on claims of inadequate consultation. During the meeting, the developer's consultant told council they had reached out to Wyatt 10 times to discuss the project and received no response.
This applicant multiple times reached out to the area councillor. Don't know where the area councillor was or what the area councillor was doing, but he wasn't responding to the needs of his constituents.
The mayor also called Wyatt a desperate man as he faces charges of sexual assault and administering a noxious substance, allegations Wyatt denies. The development, which Gillingham says will address housing needs and create jobs, goes for a final vote at council next week. Cameron McLean, CBC News, Winnipeg.
Family and friends are mourning a Winnipeg couple who died in a motorcycle crash over the weekend. Brenda Lee and Dan Keats were heavily involved in the Winnipeg Harley Riders Association. The 65-year-olds died when the motorcycle they were riding was hit by a pickup truck in the RM of St. Andrews. Those closest to them say they were a selfless couple who bonded over bikes.
We got to know them, and she was the most loving, giving person you'd ever know. Both of them would give the shirts off their back for you. Their home was always open to you.
RCMP say the 26-year-old driver of the pickup truck wasn't injured. The Winnipeg Harley Riders Association plans to honor the two with a memorial ride. A 25-year-old man is dead after falling from a roof while working in southern Manitoba. Emergency crews were called around 10:30 Monday morning to an apartment block on 14th Street in Portage-La Prairie. RCMP say the man fell 12 to 15 feet to the ground and died at the scene. Mounties say he was not wearing a safety harness at the time. All right, time now to check in with weather specialist Khalil Hassanali.
Temperatures getting north of 20 degrees in some parts of the province and also struggling to get above the freezing mark in some parts as well. So let's look at the city of Winnipeg, getting up to a high of 22 degrees for our Tuesday, and also in Winkler, Steinbach, low 20s. So pretty nice weather. Looking further north of the province, Gillam only got up to 1 degree in Churchill, and also in Flin Flon got up to 19 degrees. So overall, a mix around the province, but getting close to that 20 degree mark. Really, really nice. It's going to struggle tomorrow to get to that point, unfortunately, but there is going to be a lot of daylight that we are going to be experiencing, so that is going to be quite nice. It is going to be a sunrise at 5:19 in the morning, and then the sunset is going to be at 9:39. So what that means is there is going to be, in terms of daylight, 16 plus hours of it for us to experience. So it's going to be quite nice, a lot of sunlight, but there isn't going to be a lot of sunshine to go along with those 16 hours, unfortunately. We have 13 degrees through the overnight hours. It is going to be mostly cloudy, increasing cloudiness as we go through the overnight hours. And then by the time we get towards the morning, there is going to be a chance of showers to come into the picture. The temperature is going to be in the low teens to start off the day. And as we go through the day, temperature is going to be going up towards 19 degrees, but look at those gusts, 40 kilometers an hour plus. So it is going to be quite windy with the possibility of some rain coming down. And once again, by the afternoon time, 19 degrees is going to be the high. A chance of rain, even the possibility of a thunderstorm, according to Environment Canada, and still gusts. So not a great day in terms of the forecast for Wednesday. It is going to be taking a nice turn as we get towards Thursday, though. So that's going to be a little bit of a nice change. As we're looking at the radar, we're looking at Brandon, which is seeing a heavy bout of rain at the moment. It's going to be moving towards the city of Winnipeg over the next couple of hours and through the overnight hours as well. So that is something to watch out for. Maybe if you're someone like me who leaves a window open when they get home at night after a hot day, that is going to be one thing you do want to change, and make sure your windows are closed for your cars. In terms of accumulation, nothing too much. Still getting about 5 millimeters, let's say, in the city of Winnipeg, and then towards Brandon, it could be a little bit more and less rain as you're going towards the northern part of the province. So that is an overall picture. We do have a unsettled Wednesday for everyone. However, by the time we get to Thursday, we're seeing a warm up and also the return of a lot of sunshine as well.
All right, thanks, Khalil. We have much more to come right after the break. Stay with us.
extreme weather.
We opened the garage door and it just flooded in.
We're not going to be able to salvage everything that was in our basement, that's for sure.
When it hits, CBC is there. For the news you need, choose CBC.
Winnipeg police will begin collecting race-based data for use of force incidents. The change was announced during the inquest into the death of a 16-year-old First Nations girl. But it's a move that some experts and community organizations have been calling for months. The CBC's Rosanna Hempel was in court and has the latest.
A Winnipeg police data analysis expert told an inquest into the death of Aisha Hudson Tuesday that the collection of race-based data for use of force incidents will become mandatory for the service in the coming months. David Bowman says it's been a priority for him since he became a director last August. Hudson was killed by an officer in 2020 after a commercial robbery escalated into a high-speed police chase on Winnipeg's La Jamodier Boulevard. Bowman says collecting race-based use of force data is a long time coming. He couldn't say when it'll come into effect, except that it'll roll out after a police board and community consultations, which will help inform how the data should be collected. Bowman says officers will also need to be trained on how and when to gather the information. Unlike Manitoba, Ontario has required police forces in that province to track race-based use of force data since 2020. The inquest will look at whether systemic racism played a role in the First Nation teen's death and whether the use of force was appropriate. Rosanna Hempel, CBC News, Winnipeg.
Charges have been stayed against a Brandon police officer accused of assault and dangerous driving. Constable Myron Ham was charged after a man was hit by a police cruiser in September 2023. The charges were recommended last year by Manitoba's police watchdog. It had said a man accused of arson fled as officers arrived. He suffered a broken arm after being hit by a cruiser. But prosecutors say there was no reasonable likelihood of conviction in the case. The officer's lawyer criticized the handling of his client's case, including the fact it took 18 months for the police watchdog to complete its investigation. A Winnipeg bus driver has been accused of drinking and driving on the job. City police were called to the transit garage on Osborne Street Monday night. Cops say a driver had just returned to the depot with his bus when he was questioned by staff. They believe he was impaired and had been drinking. The 28-year-old man has been charged with driving while impaired and failing to comply with demands. Guests and visitors at all schools in one division will be asked to sign in with a selfie. Every public school within Louis Riel School Division has a new sign-in station with tablet. Visitors and short-term staff type their names into it, take a selfie, and then put on a visitor badge. The setup allows principals to track who is in their building in real time via their smartphones. Previously, people would just write their name on a paper login sheet in the office. It's all part of sweeping security updates within the division to make schools safer. In November, police say a registered sex offender was found to have gone into schools on 3 occasions, and in one case went into an elementary school, hid in a bathroom, and allegedly assaulted a child. On the heels of a shooting that killed an officer last week, Toronto's police chief is highlighting a repeating occurrence that he says has taken hold across the city. Crimes being committed by gun-for-hire networks of young people. Thomas Dagg has the story.
Look closely and you'll see a pattern. Gunmen in the Toronto area holding a weapon in one hand and a cell phone in the other, capturing shootings on video, seemingly in exchange for cash.
In order to get paid, they're required to film their attacks. Who is paying for this? This is what we are trying to determine.
Police say a string of 27 shootings, including an attack on Toronto's U.S. consulate, have been traced to a guns-for-hire scheme. These teenagers and others were allegedly paid to carry out shootings, receiving their orders through encrypted apps.
The key is to
break up the network before more shooters can be recruited.
The FBI alleges it was Iraqi militant leader Mohammed el-Sadi who ordered the consulate shooting and an attack on a Toronto synagogue on behalf of a group linked to Iran. U.S. court documents say el-Sadi was captured on a wiretap, claiming, "In Canada, we have our guys."
Has that recording been shared with the RCMP, and what is your understanding of whether it's a group or an individual that orchestrated these shootings?
I do not want to comment as to whether or not the validity or not validity of that information, but it is part of our investigation. We're aware of it, and we're continuing to follow up on it.
As police raided this apartment building in that investigation, Constable Mark Pinizzato was shot and killed. His grieving mother is speaking out.
Our family is going to make a plea to the general public. Please support our police. Mark gave his life. He was determined to be the best he could be.
As for the 19-year-old alleged gunman accused of killing the police officer last week, a court heard he remains in hospital unconscious. Police are still looking for another 19-year-old charged in connection with the U.S. consulate shooting, who's now on the run. Thomas Dagg, CBC News, Toronto.
The Liberals have tabled new legislation aimed at providing safe drinking water in First Nations communities. It's the first attempt by the Carney government to tackle the long-standing problem. Here's Joint Spear Chief Morris with the details and reactions.
After months of speculation, the Liberal government introduced its long-awaited First Nations clean drinking water legislation.
This legislation will advance the critical work of addressing long-term drinking water advisories, and I'm grateful to do this work for and with First Nations.
The bill reintroduces the Trudeau-era water bill that died on the House floor last year. But this version removes clean water as a human right and makes protecting source water voluntary for provinces. First Nation critics said they had less input in the new proposed legislation.
We see that today's Bill C-37 represents a significant departure from the collaborative approach followed with Bill C-61. Bill C-37 was introduced without broad or meaningful input by First Nations.
The bill highlights what critics argue is a weakening of Indigenous priorities in Carney's Build Canada Strong agenda. Galmasty said changes in source water protections in the proposed bill is intended to prevent challenges from provinces concerned about resource development.
I also think that right now, the space, the time that we're in as a country, it is essential to have provinces and territories work with us.
The bill asserts First Nations self-governance over clean water and provides long-term support for building and maintaining infrastructure, including $4.6 billion over 5 years. According to the Government of Canada, 38 First Nations communities have been under long-term boil advisories as of June 4th, the longest of which has been in effect since 1995. Conservative MP Billy Morin said waiting to introduce water until the very end of the session has been frustrating.
I'm quite frankly disappointed. Over the last year, they've stalled water legislation. The First Nations got to wait all summer just for them to have a break to get back to this conversation after 6 years of broken promises.
Minister Galmasty said it took time to consult with communities and stakeholders. But First Nations leaders say more engagement is still needed before Parliament returns to debate the bill this fall. Joy Spear Chief Morris, CBC News, Ottawa.
It's the end of an era at our national public broadcaster. After 74 years, the final hockey buzzer has sounded, and NHL games will no longer be televised on the CBC. Caroline Bargout explains why.
The first hockey game ever televised in Canada appeared on CBC in October 1952.
Over the line to Chico Mackey, fakes the shot, lets it go, he scores!
Since then, it's become a fixture in homes across the country.
Well, I think it's a very great thing to have it go right across the country because everybody knows of the National Hockey League. Everybody knows it's the best hockey in the world. And I think Canadians all over Canada should be able to see it.
Now that the season is over, Hockey Night in Canada on CBC will be no more. In a joint statement, Rogers Sportsnet and CBC said after a successful 12-year partnership, the public broadcaster will no longer carry NHL broadcasts after the current season as it moves forward with a new sports programming strategy. CBC Sports says the decision came down to money.
We did our best with Rogers to try and find a path forward, and at the end of the day, although both partners gave it, I think, a really good effort, we were unable to find a solution that satisfied both partners.
Sportsnet took over the national broadcast rights to NHL games from CBC in 2014, but CBC still showed some games on Hockey Night in Canada on Saturday nights. Sportsnet renewed its deal with the league for $11.2 billion beginning in October, but CBC will no longer have any part of it. Former Hockey Night host George Stroumboulopoulos says the move turns a part of Canadian culture into another subscription.
We know that things change. We know that things evolve. But one of the few things that kept Canadians in front of, or at least millions in front of a TV at the same time, was Hockey Night in Canada on Saturday nights. I think it's actually a real shame.
On the streets of Vancouver, hockey fans are disappointed.
It's a shame when you can't watch your sport on basic cable.
It's like the World Cup right now in Vancouver. People are buying tickets, have money. The ones that don't have money have to watch on a screen outside.
Saturday night, always you turn on CBC and you expect it to be there, right? So it is sad. I say it's sad to go.
CBC says in its place, the public broadcaster will move forward with new sports programming and will focus on the Olympic and Paralympic Games, as well as covering Canadian athletes at home and abroad. Next season, if Canadians want to watch NHL hockey on TV, they'll have to pay for it. Caroline Bargout, CBC News, Vancouver.
Well, if you're a homeowner, widespread flooding in our province likely has you wondering whether you'll be covered if it happens to you next. We'll hear from one expert on the subject after the break. Stay with us. Whether your home experienced flooding this time or not, it likely has you wondering about whether you'll be covered next time. Jason Thistlethwaite is an associate professor who specializes in disaster risk management. He spoke with Marcy Marcusa and says when it comes to the availability and affordability of property insurance, Canada is in a crisis.
What the people are experiencing in Manitoba right now is a confusing gap in the way that we are managing recovery from disasters. There's only so much we can do to stop a 250-year rain event. So we really are going to be relying on recovery systems to help people pick up the pieces. And what's happened is that now that there is a private overland insurance product available, people who experience damage through that peril will no longer be able to access disaster assistance. And so we're getting a confusing message from governments right now about whether or not damage will be considered insurable, because many people, even though the product is available on the market, can't afford it, or insurers are offering very minimal coverage, particularly in areas like Manitoba where you have some concentrated flood risk.
And that additional product, just to be clear with the listeners here, is we used to not be covered, and tell me if this is correct, for overland flooding. And I think 10 years ago, it was 10 years ago, then that product, that coverage for that insurance started to become available, and it muddies the water. In your view, who's responsible for all the confusion about coverage?
I think this is on our provincial and federal governments. Provincial governments are the major actors responsible for disaster management in Canada. They could see this coming as they very slowly started to pull back on what would be available in terms of disaster assistance. They're increasingly saying that if a loss is insurable, taxpayers should not be paying for it through disaster assistance. That's a reasonable principle, but it only works if people actually have access to insurance. And there are two things that the federal government committed to, and our provinces are supportive of this, that we have yet to see materialize. The first is a national flood insurance system. Why isn't insurance available for these people? Well, if the private market isn't going to provide it, many countries adopt a public-private partnership where a government will step in and underwrite some of the more high-risk areas. And over time, that support will decrease as an incentive for those communities to mitigate that risk. The other significant gap is that no Canadians have any idea about what their current flood risk is. When we ask Canadians who are living in high-risk areas in surveys across the country, between 6 and 10% of people routinely say they are in fact aware of what their risk is. You can't be expecting Canadians to be responsible for flood risk, knowing the ins and outs of insurance and disaster assistance, if you aren't providing maps in the first place to indicate what their actual exposure is.
So let's talk about the unprecedented aspect of this that further complicates things. So the mayor of Stonewall yesterday was talking about elevation. That town is like at the elevation of the Golden Boy, if people can imagine that here in Winnipeg. That means that you're kind of not at a high risk generally for overland flooding because your elevation's up. However, you get this unprecedented event, 255 millimeters of rain, and you're flooding. How much responsibility does the insurance industry bear for some of the confusion about how this is all working?
I think they have a role to play absolutely as well. In an ideal world, the fine print in insurance wouldn't be so fine. And it would be far less jargony, and it would help explain to people that the underwriting that explains your policy is justified because, well, you live in a 1 and 250 year flood risk area. And that is informing what the risk is and how we're going to do that policy. Insurers are very reluctant to do that. Why? Because it's a bad news story, and they don't want to be opening up the black box on their underwriting for how their processes are working, and they can view it as a competitive disadvantage. We have seen regulators come out more recently saying, hey, you need to be more transparent, you need to do that. But at the same time, insurance is a business. And so ultimately, this generally falls on the shoulders of governments to be sort of the insurer or the risk assessor of last resort, if you will.
So I want to stay with the Stonewall example for a moment, just because it's a good one. How likely is it that people in places like Stonewall could see their premiums go up now, despite not being traditionally in an elevation that would be flood prone?
See, this is important to address a bit of an uncertainty here. And again, this is where having flood maps would absolutely help us. The type of flooding that occurred in Stonewall is a different type of flooding that we generally map out very well in Canada, and that's riverine flooding, where the water overcomes the banks, right? Water that pours down, overcomes the stormwater system, and then overburns our streets is actually a different type of flooding. And we really do not have a lot of good mapping around that. So that would be a first step. Insurance is a business, and because they've lost money on these claims that they're likely to pay out if people do in fact have coverage, they are going to recoup those claims through higher premiums and more restricted coverages. So people who have had their basements covered historically for some type of water damage, next year may get a bit of a surprise when they find out that the insurance company is not going to renew that basement coverage.
All right, what does the week in store have for us? Well, weather specialist Khalil Hassanali is in now with your forecast. Khalil.
If anyone's trying to get out tomorrow morning and walking their dogs, perhaps, you might want to have maybe an umbrella or a doggy jacket. I'll be definitely keeping those on track for myself. This is my peanut and butter, let's say, courtesy of me. So peanut is the one with the funky ears on the left-hand side of your screen. Butter is the one that's probably a little bit more chill. In terms of taking your dogs out for a walk, yeah, it's not going to be a great day, unfortunately, tomorrow to be doing any of that. As we're heading out the door, let's say around 12 or at 8 o'clock in the morning, at 12 degrees is going to be the temperature. By 12 o'clock in the afternoon, the temperature is only going to be about 16 degrees. All through the day tomorrow, there is going to be a chance of some rain. It's not going to be a complete washout by any means. There is also going to be a slight chance of, in the afternoon hours, the possibility of thunderstorms according to Environment Canada. So that is something to keep in mind. But peanut and butter, they will be all nice and bundled up. In terms of the afternoon temperature for today, we got up to 22 degrees in the city of Winnipeg. A little bit cooler towards Brandon, a little bit cooler as you go up towards Thompson. And I noticed earlier that Churchill also got up to just 1 degree Celsius. In terms of what's ahead for us, blue is good in terms of sunshine, and then red, that's going to bring the unsettled weather. So you see a little bit of red moving towards the city of Winnipeg, and that's going to bring in some unsettled weather on top of us tomorrow, and then it's going to be moving away as we go towards Thursday. So that's going to be bringing in more sunshine, hopefully, for all of us. So that is going to be bringing in, once again, and moving the clouds out and the rain out of the way, and then sticking a little bit of sunshine for us and just some scattered rain across the province. In terms of accumulation, we do have about 5 millimeters, let's say, in the city of Winnipeg, a little bit more, a little bit less, depending on where you are in the province. As we're going through the overnight hours tonight, we do have a low of 11 degrees in the city of Winnipeg. All around the city, it's going to be around the low double digits, I would say. Going towards the northern part of the province, Gillam looking at 3 degrees, 0 in Churchill as well. And then tomorrow afternoon, we do have a little bit of a warm-up taking place in the morning. We're going to get up to about 11 in Thompson, and then going towards the southern part of the province, it's going to be 13 degrees as we're starting off the day in Winnipeg. And once again, just sneaking up towards that 20-degree mark. But that is going to be the day that we want to get through Wednesday, because Thursday, that is going to be where the sunshine returns to the forecast.
Thanks, Khalil. Canadian soccer fans are gearing up for their team's next World Cup game in Vancouver. And for many of the Team Canada players, the city holds a special place in their hearts. John Hernandez has that story.
It's a light mood to start the first practice of the week for Team Canada, but all of these players know what's at stake come Thursday.
In camp, we're solely focused on winning games and putting the best foot forward for this country.
Players took to the pitch at their UBC training center, having already caught a glimpse of FIFA fever in Vancouver. Surrey-born Joel Waterman is among players who are close to home.
I'm only an hour from my hometown, and this is obviously the province where I'm from, and I have immense pride in representing those people that are from here and in those communities.
For 22-year-old Nico Seeger, Thursday's game will be a full-circle moment. The Burnaby-born player worked as a Team Canada ball boy at BC Place in 2019.
I just want to enjoy the moment. I don't want to think too deep into it. It's a stadium I grew up going to, watching the Whitecaps.
And there are also Whitecaps alumni on the team. Ali Ahmed was a big part of the soccer club's historic 2025 season.
This is my home. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for this building, if it wasn't for Whitecaps, if it wasn't for this city.
Saturday's massive World Cup crowds are likely a sign of what's to come when Team Canada plays Qatar on Thursday. TransLink says SkyTrain ridership to BC Place was the busiest it's been since the Olympics, while fans flooded pedestrian plazas like the Granville Strip. These players eager to see Canadian colors take over.
You know, we love seeing our fans and the streets filled and Canadian red jerseys everywhere. That's what we want out of this country, and that's what we're kind of building this for.
As it stands right now, all of the teams in Canada's group are tied in the standings, which makes a win on Thursday just that much more important if the team wants to move on in the tournament. John Hernandez, CBC News, Vancouver.
Still ahead, why these students took to the North End streets to celebrate. Plus, your final look at the forecast is coming up next. Stay with us. An escaped kangaroo on Montreal's South Shore, nicknamed Joey, has finally been captured. The The marsupial was first spotted a few days ago, prompting concerns about its safety and the safety of others. Provincial wildlife agents were able to get close enough to shoot it with a tranquilizer before transporting it to the zoo to be evaluated. The kangaroo had escaped from a stable in Boucherville, and Quebec officials say it was likely being held illegally.
Welcome back. Let's take a look at the long-range forecast over the next 5 to 7 days. So Wednesday, it's going to be a little bit unsettled, a little bit of blustery winds as well, as gusts are going to be north of 40 kilometers an hour and only getting up to about 19, 20 degrees, let's say, for the city. And then as we go towards Thursday, a lot of sunshine in the forecast. We do have a little bit of an unsettled Friday happening right now, but the weekend looks like it's going to be beautiful. And the temperature is also going to be bumping up as we get towards the mid-20s. And also a humidex making it feel a lot warmer than that. And then towards the start of the work week, still a couple of days that we have to deal with before we get there, but it looks like it's going to be nice. Get through tomorrow, and then a little bit of a bump and a lot of sunshine in the forecast.
Thanks, Khalil. Well, it was a day of celebration for many high school students, but instead of strolling across the stage, it was more a walk around the block. That's tonight's Daily Lift. It's the 5th annual North End graduation walk for roughly 200 students at 3 schools in the area. It began in 2022 for teens who had in-person graduations impacted by the pandemic in previous years. A lot of students in the North End have more barriers to overcome to get to graduation. For organizer Michael Redhead Champagne, it's a chance to show them they have the full support of the community behind them.
I think a lot of the time this neighborhood feels like we're being forgotten or overlooked by other parts of the city, and having a grad walk really gives us an opportunity to celebrate the accomplishments of students in the neighborhood, but also for the students themselves. They deserve to be lifted up and celebrated for the accomplishments that they have made.
He says it's important to show the students what their success means for the area. The walk also ended with some food as everyone gathered for a group barbecue. Lots of graduations happening around the province, and a big congratulations to all of those graduates. Great day for it. We'll see you back here tomorrow night. Have a great night.